What's up, everybody? Andre here, and today we're talking about Pragmata. And now look, this game has been in development since 2020, 6 years. 6 years of delays, radio silence, mystery trailers that told us basically nothing, and a whole lot of "is this thing even still happening" energy. But finally, it's almost here. It drops April 17th. I spent a good amount of time reviewing it, watching other people who got to play early gameplay at GameCon. And before you drop your money, let's break down exactly what this game is, how it plays, and whether it delivers, and if Capcom finally cooks something new that's worth caring about. Let's get into this.
Here you are. All better.
You patched me up?
The backstory. Why has this game been living in our heads rent-free? So first, a little context, because the history of Pragmata is generally wild. The game was revealed at Sony's PS5 event back in June 2020. In the trailer, it was one of those moments. I've got an astronaut in a busted spacesuit, a little android girl, the moon, the things go sideways, and it looks stunning. Like cinematic, mysterious, that kind of thing where you don't fully understand what you're looking at, but you're locked in anyway. Capcom originally said 2020 for the game release, and then they moved it to 2023, and then just silence. Years of silence. That kind of silence where you just assume a game is quietly dying in development and nobody wants to talk about it anymore. A lot of people compared it to Death Stranding just because of the vibes. Weird, artistic, probably more story than gameplay, but then the state of play happened in 2025 and they finally showed actual gameplay. They gave us a real look at what this thing is, and people started to pay attention again. December 2025, they dropped a playable demo on Steam. February 2026, it hit every platform, and suddenly Pragmata was everywhere. Here's the thing about the demo though. It was short, about 20 to 30 minutes short, but it did exactly what a good demo was supposed to do. It got you wanting more, a lot more.
You've been to the sea before? On Earth?
Of course I have.
The setup. What is this game actually about? So for story wise, here's what we know. You play as Hugh Williams, an astronaut in an armored suit that looks like a man who had a very bad day. He was a part of a team sent to investigate a lunar research station that went dark. Something called the lunar fulfillment is being developed up there. Basically, it's this insane material that can replicate almost anything as long as you have the right data, like the technology of the future. And of course, something has to go catastrophically wrong. The facility's AI system called IDAS has gone rogue and activated all of the station's robot workers, turning them hostile. The whole place is locked down, dangerous, and Hugh gets separated from his crew after the lunar quake happens. This is where Diana comes in. She's an android made from the same company, which is wild when you think about it, and she looks and acts like an actual little girl. She finds Hugh and basically puts him back together, and then from that point the two of them are stuck together trying to figure out what happened, shut down IDAS, and then get back to Earth. Now the character dynamic here is one of the things that I'm more interested in and fully seeing fleshed out. It's reminded me of Joe and Ellie energy from The Last of Us, the reluctant guardian and kid who's always more capable than expected type of bond. Hugh gives her the name Diana and she rides on his back, and he's clearly not the most expressive guy, and she's very curious and lively, kind of the unsettling and canny android way, but also very charming. The relationship between them feels like it's going to carry an emotional weight throughout the game. The setting itself is also interesting. The corporation behind the station is called Delphi Corporation, and there's clearly a lot of lore buried in this world about AI, automation workers being replaced by robots, all of the stuff that feels very relevant to right now in today's world. Whether the story actually lands is something we'll need the full game to judge, but the foundation here is interesting.
I'm good. Get behind me!
I think I can help.
The gameplay. So this is the part we need to spend the most time on, because Pragmata combat is unlike pretty much anything you've played in a third-person shooter. And I say that, and I don't mean the PR type of way. I mean this is generally requires a different part of your brain kind of thinking. Here's the core loop. You're a shooter, Hugh has guns, but there's a catch to it. Bullets don't do anything to these robots until Diana hacks them first. Like, you can shoot all you want and the damage is basically null and void. The robot robot has armor and you can't get through it without taking down the firewall first. That's gonna be Diana's job. So what does it look like in practice? You hold down your aim button, L2 on PlayStation, and hacking the grid pops up on your screen. It's like a mini maze. You have a starting point and an end point, and you navigate the cursor through it using your face buttons, X, square, triangle, circle, etc. The goal is to get from one side to the other, and along the way there are blue nodes that you can pass through that boost your damage output. Hit the endpoint, hack complete, armor drops, and Hugh can actually put real damage into enemies' exposed weak points. And all of this is happening in real time. While you're doing your hack, the enemy is still moving, still attacking, so you still have to dodge. You're splitting your attention between solving this grid puzzle and not actually getting wrecked in the middle of it. This is the type of thing that makes the game feel genuinely different. It's a shooter with a gimmick to it. Hacking is the game. Combat without it doesn't exist. Hugh and Diana literally cannot survive without each other. Now, how complex is the hacking? It scales with the enemies. Small flying drones, they have a 3x3 tiny grid, pretty easy to blow through. The big chunky mechs, that's gonna be a 5x5 grid, and those grids can have blockers, dead ends that you have to avoid and snake your way through to the finish line, and you have to collect hacking nodes throughout the levels and get these added to the grid too, giving you extra effects. These things can lower the enemy's defense or linking multiple enemies together so one hack can open them all up at once. There's also a mechanic called the overdrive protocol, Diana's ultimate ability. As you hack enemies, you fill up a meter, and when the max is out, Diana can unleash a massive move that can stun enemies around you, opening them all up to damage, and deals a big chunk of damage as it hits on its own. It's your "there's 6 robots and I'm about to die" button. And from what I've seen, it's absolutely critical when the game throws a room full of enemies at you. Now for the weapon side, Hugh isn't working with unlimited ammo here. There's not a lot of spray and pray in this game. You've got a basic grip gun that recharges over time, so that's gonna be your fallback, but the heavier weapons are limited. The shockwave gun hits hard, basically functions like a shotgun, but once it's gone, you need to find another one in the environment. The stasis net fires an electromagnetic net that immobilizes enemies, great for crowd controls, and there's a charge piercer that punches through armor directly, useful for situations where you need to set up a hack. Every shot counts and you're deliberate. You need to think before you trigger, and that deliberate pace is by design. This game reminds me a lot of Dead Space by comparison. The way you're conserving ammo, the way you're targeting specific parts of the enemy, mixed with the puzzle on the fly that feels something like Sekiro, where once you learn the system, you can start getting into a flow state and start tearing through enemies encounter. One preview that I saw put it perfectly. When you figure it out, it starts to feel like cracking the enemy's matrices like nuts. The flow state is real, and once the hacking becomes second nature, the whole game opens up for you. The sector guard fight at the end of the demo is a big bipedal bot with missile launchers. The whole area floor lights up with warning zones and rockets come flying in, and while you're dodging all of the chaos, you're still trying to hack through multiple layers of the boss's security. Not just one hack, but multiple, and the boss has overheat phase where it becomes vulnerable and you have to dump max damage into it. It's a proper juggling act, dodging, hacking, positioning, and managing which guns you want to use for the burst damage window. That kind of encounter design is what I want to see more of.
Man, he is again. I can't do anything.
Exploration and level design. So let's be real about something. The combat in Pragmata is incredibly promising. The exploration, this is where I do have some questions. The traveling works like this. Hugh's suit has thrusters that he uses to dodge in combat, and those same thrusters let him hover and cover large jumps in exploration. Diana can hack doors, terminals, and escape hatches in environmental systems like pillars and platforms to create new paths. On paper, that's a smart way to make the combat tools feel relevant outside of the fights as well. But as some previews have flagged, the exploration sections, at least what has been shown so far, can feel like a little flat. The IGN hands-on coverage specifically mentioned that a lot of the lunar base looks identical by room, which makes navigation hard when you're trying to figure out where you even are. And there's no map on top of that, so you're kind of just guessing. And in a more linear game, that's fine, but Pragmata has some open area designs where you're hunting for objectives and identical looking corridors make it very frustrating. But they haven't felt as cohesive as the combat hacking. They're more like button prompt sequences than actual puzzles. The hope is as the game opens up, these systems get more interesting and the environment gets more visually, because if the entire back half of the game is as creative as the combat, we're looking at a truly special game right here. But if the exploration is as flat as some of what's been shown already, that's going to drag the overall experience down. One thing that does sound encouraging is the shelter, the hub area that lets you return between missions. You can spend in-game currency to upgrade Hugh and Diana's gear, weapons, and abilities. That kind of progression loops could add a depth to the overall campaign if it's done right. More powerful hacks, more weapon options, and more tools to play with. That kind of thing can keep the game fresh across a full campaign.
Cradle security protocol.
The big picture, Capcom's bet on something new. Let's zoom out for a second. Capcom has been on one of the best runs in gaming over the past couple of years. Monster Hunter, Resident Evil, Onimusha coming back, Street Fighter 6, they have been crushing it the last couple of years, but all of that success has been built on existing franchises. The last time that they tried a new IP was Exo Primal in 2023, and that one faded fast. And before that, it was Kunitsugami in 2024, another new IP that didn't find a big audience. Pragmata has the biggest bet on something new in years. It's been in development long enough that it should be polished. It's priced at $59.99 instead of the $70 that's usually standard now, which is either a sign of confidence in the value that they're delivering or an acknowledgement that a new IP needs to be priced to get people to take a chance on it. Either way, that's a player-friendly move right there. And the interesting thing about this game is that it's coming out of Capcom's new developmental staff. It's basically designed as a project to let newer talent flex creativity. World building was overseen by Shota Mori, the guy behind Macross, which explains why some of the sci-fi anime energy you get from the whole aesthetic is here. And the decision to make Diana look almost human but not quite, that uncanny, that weird variety effect is completely intentional. She's designed to feel significantly off in a way that makes her feel like something generally alien, even though she acts like a kid. That's a very smart creative process choice. Whether the game launches to the kind of numbers Capcom needs to justify it as the foundation of a new franchise, that's the real question, because the bones of something great are clearly here. The concept is bold, the combat system is unlike anything in the genre. If the full campaign delivers on the promise, this could be one of the games that people look back on as the start of something big.
First and second firewalls, hooking control protocols. Initiating hack!
Should you be paying attention to this game when it comes out? Hell yes, and here's why. Pragmata is one of the games that sounds confusing on paper, but makes complete sense the second that you start playing it. The hacking and shooting loop is generally fresh in a genre that's been running the same for years. The relationship between Hugh and Diana has real potential to be the game's memorable, and the RE engine makes everything look stunning. And the fact that Capcom actually built a new combat system from scratch that challenges how you fundamentally approach shooters, that deserves some respect there. Now there's still some open questions. The level design needs to step it up. The exploration needs its own spark. The story needs to cash in on its own setup. But what we've seen so far has been shown enough for me to say that this is the more interesting games of 2026. And if you're sleeping on it because marketing hasn't been loud enough, you need to wake up. Pragmata drops on April 17th on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC, and Nintendo Switch 2. The demo is free right now. Go play it to see it for yourself and see what the hype is about. And when the full review drops on this channel, you know we're gonna give you the full unfiltered breakdown. That's gonna be it for this video. If you found this video helpful, drop a like, subscribe if you're new. That helps me more than you think. I love when YouTube just gives me money for just yapping. And if you played the demo already, let me know in the comments what you thought. Did the hacking click for you, or did it feel like a little bit too much? I'm genuinely curious about your thoughts, so drop them in the comments below. But as always, stay safe, stay smart, stay alpha, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.